Hi, everyone. So Victor Wembanyama has done everything you could ask for from a 20-year-old rookie. He's having a historic NBA season. I mean, it's like every game he's setting some type of record for such a young player with so much upside. You see the superstar potential. You see the both sides of the basketball, the defense side of things, as well as the overall offense. But you also see areas in which he can grow and improve and will likely grow and improve. Then you just see the stuff that's just, God-given, right? Like, it's just like, dude, this guy has just unbelievable just talent. And he's just out there playing on just pure, just adrenaline, excitement, and talent. And it's going to be so fun to watch his trajectory and his career. I mean, this is a guy that, as a rookie, you can make an argument to win Defensive Player of the Year. His versatility on the defensive side of things, he's kind of, talked his smack towards Rudy Gobert, which, again, they're friends. Rudy was huge in, just hyping up Victor before he even came to the league and all that stuff. So, it's just friendly competition type thing. But he has exceeded, in many people's eyes, all expectations. He has a lot of pressure on this kid's shoulders, right? There's a lot of expectations, a lot of hype coming in. I mean, people were talking about him already being a top 10 player before he even entered the league. And this is a guy that, people even talked about he was created to end the Jordan and LeBron debate. And, I personally don't like putting the type of pressure on these kids. Do I believe he could be the greatest player ever? Of course. Look at the guy. Just watch him play and you're just like, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. He is unbelievable, but I don't like putting that on 20-year-old kids because, again, he's a 20-year-old kid. But he has really broken through sort of that rookie wall that people talk about, and it's just his size, his versatility. And he's done it with just the ridiculous struggles of San Antonio and just the lack of competence, I guess. Because there's even a video right now circulating that of Victor Wembanyama just being completely ignored and a turnover happening because they just won't give the ball to Victor. It drives me crazy. Why? I at times I can't even watch Spurs games. They're bad, they lose, that's fine. But the way that they just completely ignore Victor at times is just, it doesn't make any sense. He's clearly your best player. I understand you want to kind of eat too and all that stuff. And, Spurs have a lot of young guys that, they believe that they're the guy. But it's come on, man. Even just the right basketball play at times. Some of these guys just don't even make. And it's just you're at the end of the shot clock. You don't know what to do. Give it to the guy that is a ridiculous mismatch, 7'4" height with an 8-foot standing reach or whatever, wingspan. It's what are you doing here? And even through all that, Victor is still averaging just a hair under 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists. The guy shooting, 50% from 2-point range, shooting 33% from 3-point range. This is a guy who, again, the sky's the limit. Even with all of just the issues with the Spurs, you see everything you can want to see. And one of the things that Victor has kind of talked about, because there is a lot of talk okay, we're getting close to the end of the season, right? He's basically a lock for Rookie of the Year. Chet has been very good this season also, but one, he's on a good team. Two, he's putting up great, incredible stats. He's not Victor Wembanyama. Chet is very incredible. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Chet. He's going to be I'm excited for that big man duo, that the battles and the clashes that they're going to have over the years, as just the basketball fan in me. am just anxious and excited for what does that look like 10 years from now, right? So I can't wait for just the growth in it. But Victor Wembanyama is clearly the rookie of the year. And, so Victor's just kind of he's basically just kind of solidifying this season. Victor's talked about how he really wants to kind of turn on the Jets, and really just continue to grow and learn and kind of continue to exceed expectations, right? Like, one of the things that Victor has talked about heavily this season, like more so towards the second half of the season, right? That he basically wants to pick it up a notch. And he's even talked about that, like, in these last 15 games or whatever that they have, where he's talked about, like, hey, I want to take it up an even other notch. I've learned a lot. I've understand things. I've, Pop has mentored me, and I see things and understand things and have a better feel than I did when I first came in. It kind of sounds like a guy that's like, hey, can you take me off the leash, right? Like, which San Antonio, they've been very cautious. They're very strategic in how they are approaching Victor this season. They're keeping his minutes down. He's sat games that you're just like, really? Like, does he really need to sit this game? And it's like, well, yeah, right? Like, Spurs aren't winning anything. It's not about this season. It's about the future. And you have your guy. You have your generational talent. You have your alien. You have the things that you want. And so you're just trying to get through the season, let him get his rookie, but give him enough to where he can learn, get the experience, kind of get the feel for it. I did a whole video kind of breaking down Victor and how Pop has been very brilliant in how he's approached Victor this season. Definitely check out that video after this one, because I do. It's one of those things. Like, he's protected him, but he's protected him in a very smart manner, right? He kind of, because talked about it earlier in this video, right? Like, one of the things that frustrates me is how the Spurs players act like Victor isn't even on the court at times. And you're talking about Pop, who is one of, if not the greatest coaches ever. You don't think he notices that too? You don't think that he has a level of frustration about that too? But that's kind of the out, right? That's kind of the scapegoat. Like, hey, keep his minutes low. He's only playing 28 minutes, right? Like, we don't really have a true point guard. We have guys that are trying to prove themselves. We're a young team. Like, you start rattling off the like checklist of things that kind of mask Victor, because Pop understands. Pop gets it. Like, this kid has a insane amount of upside and potential, but he also has an insane amount of pressure and eyeballs. And every little thing he does is going to be under a microscope and scrutinized. And if you're Pop, right, like, you want to give just enough to where the conversation is a positive, rather than like you give too much and now it's a negative, especially early on. Right? Early on, it was like, dude, like, there's games where he's playing only like 15 minutes. It's like, what are we doing here? Right? But you think about it, it's like early on, right? Like, the more he plays, until he really gets a grasp and understanding of the NBA and timing and positions and, all that stuff, it's like the more that he plays, the more he's probably going to get exposed and the worse he looks. Even if he looks spectacular and he has all these highlight moments and whatnot, there's going to be times where the narrative is going to be, oh, Victor is this, he doesn't have that, uh-oh, look over here, right? Like, and you'll see the media kind of twist that narrative. But if you keep him in small doses early on, when he's trying to feel stuff out, then he's kind of just going 1,000 miles an hour. That lack of NBA experience isn't going to show as much. So now it's like in 15 minutes, he's giving you a handful of highlight plays. It's like, oh, guess what the media is going to run with, right? And then as he gets more comfortable, as he gets better understanding, as he learns and grows as a player in his rookie season, you start trickling in a little more. Now he's getting 20 minutes. Now he's getting 25 minutes. Now he's playing around 30 plus minutes. And now you're seeing in the games he's played this like last half of the season, he's getting 30 to 35 minutes a game. And he's putting up and putting out absolute heroic type performances and shattering records, game in and game out and whatnot. I mean, even against the Denver Nuggets, right? He had his struggles, don't get me wrong, right? Like he was 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, going up against Jokic. Obviously, that was a tough matchup. But even in a bad game, he still gave you, or what some might perceive as a bad game, he still gave you 17, 9, 2, 3 blocks, 2 steals, right? Like the guy, it's like, what more could you ask from the guy? He's going up against the best center in the league, best big man in the league. And, he's out there fighting and working hard and holding his own. And yeah, he shot the ball poorly, but he still did so many other things. And on the defensive side, and was able to kind of like, make things interesting and keep the team in it for a good chunk. And it was one of those things where it's like, you can once again see it. The Spurs definitely need to start, I believe, this offseason addressing, though, the talent around Victor. They need to get a true point guard, whether you're drafting that, whether you're signing that in free agency, whatever it is, they need to start putting the proper pieces. Again, like, I'm not saying you go make silly decisions. Like, you have time. He's 20 years old. I mean, you could spend the next 3 to 4 years developing him and slowly building and putting this roster together, and he wouldn't even be in his prime yet. So, like, you have time with him, but you also, Pop and the Spurs know what the expectations are, right? Pop and the Spurs know what it takes. And San Antonio is an organization that is known for winning and doing whatever it takes to win, right? Like, they're like, what, the 4th winningest franchise or 3rd winningest franchise in NBA history, right? And so, like, they're an organization that they've been here, they've done that, they understand. And so I do expect them this offseason to really start putting the position pieces to make Victor look better, to actually get him the ball more. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 27 to 30 point a game range next season. Like, seriously. I mean, he's averaging 21 this year. And, I mean, half the game, San Antonio's players are doing everything they can to not give him the basketball. Right? Imagine if you actually got like a real point guard, right? That is feeding him and looking out for his interest and trying to get him to have the most success. Like, you start actually running your offense and your team through Victor. To ask him to make 9 more points a game is not that crazy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts on Victor? What do you think of him, wanting to kind of take it up a notch? Do you think he even can? Again, whatever your thoughts are, however you feel, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all.